So I found a headboard that I really like online, but it's $600. So I got these pallets delivered yesterday, and I think I can build a high-end headboard with them for way less. I'm in the middle of redoing our guest bedroom, but I'm trying to keep everything in a budget. So my goal is to build a headboard out of free pallet wood. But I also want it to look nice and high-end, and that can be challenging. You are gonna get out! You know, after inspecting these, some of them are in bad shape, and I don't think I can use all of them, but hopefully I have enough wood to make this headboard, hopefully. I also want to make a bed frame that matches, but I've never done that before. I'm doing this all wrong, so hopefully I can pull this off. Ow! But one thing at a time, let's start with this pallet over here. And look what I got. I actually used one of these on the deck project, but that was all the way in New York, so that's why I don't have one. But I decided to get one for this time because the last time I did pallets, it was rough. Now, how do I actually do this? Okay, that is not how you do it. Got it. I'm a little nervous about that cracking. Okay, first board down, 1 million to go. I honestly don't know how many pallets was going to take for me to make this headboard. And I was going to drive around town to try to find free pallets, but when Tony's dad heard what I was doing, he was very kind to offer to bring me the pallets I needed. So I asked for 6. I thought I probably needed less than that, but since I didn't know the shape that they were going to be, I wanted to have a little extra, just in case. Using this tool definitely made it easier to take the boards out. Whoa. There you go. Well, most of them. Some of them didn't quite come out. Now the other side. But it also helped the edges not to crack as much, which is one of the main problems I had last time. But I will say that taking the pallets apart took less time with the pallet buster tool. It was just not as easy as I hoped. If you didn't watch my last pallet video, I basically sat on the floor with a hammer and a pry bar taking each board out individually. And I still had to do that this time, but only with a few of them. Man, why is this last board kicking my butt? It won't come out. And it's useless too. I can't use it, but I still gotta take it apart because I might need this thick piece. I don't know. It won't come out. What in the world? All right. So I thought about this, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the edges with a circular saw like I did last time, because I don't need the edges are usually cracked anyways, but I do want the middle intact. So I'm gonna cut the edges, and I'm gonna use a fancy fork over here to do the middle. This one looks rough, so I'm gonna skip it and do the other ones that look nicer, and hopefully I don't need this one. This one looks nice and orangey. I changed my mind about cutting it. I'm gonna use the big fancy fork for the rest. Oh, where's that hammer? I think that side needed about 2 more nails. Come on. You are gonna get out. Come on. There. Man, that nail is not giving. Okay. It didn't come out in one piece, but it came out. I'm done. This felt like I did so much work already, and it was only the beginning. And I was asking myself, what did I get myself into? But then I try to think of the end product and whether or not it's worth it. See, the thing is that pallet wood is pretty crappy for the most part, and it's very hard to work with, and it takes a lot of work to get it to look decent, but there's something about taking an object, and in this case a pallet, that could have been trash, it could have been burned, and turning it into something beautiful. Something that it just makes it all worth it at the end. At least I hope so. So last time I did this project, many of you suggested a very specific tool to remove the nails. Specifically an air locker, I think that's what it's called. And the good news is that I ordered it, but the bad news is that it doesn't get here till tomorrow. And I kind of want to get these nails out because I need to lay out the wood to see if I have enough so that I can start the pattern tomorrow. Well, actually no, not the pattern, to start cutting them, planing them, and cleaning them up and doing everything to this wood tomorrow. But I need the nails off today. So I'm gonna have to do it by hand again. So last time I did this, I was struggling to get the nails out, especially the ones that are like crooked. So I figured out that by holding it with the pliers and just try to hold it straight, they actually come out a lot easier. See? First 4 done, the next 500 to go. So I'm basically laying it out to see if I have enough wood. Maybe I do. So I have this, and I still have some more over there. And then these are kind of like the really bad shaped ones, but if I have to clean them up and get a few pieces out of there, I'm not against that. It's not gonna be in this pattern, it's gonna be the herringbone pattern. So once I start cleaning these up, cutting them and doing the pattern, this is gonna shrink a lot, because I'm gonna have a lot of waste. There's a lot of parts that are just not gonna be usable. So I think that's gonna be enough. We'll find out. Okay, let's talk about this headboard. Not this, this is the bed frame. We'll talk about this later. So my plan with the headboard is to make a frame that is made out of 2x2s and is also going to serve as the legs. So it's going to be part of the support of the bed. And then the actual headboard is going to be a herringbone pattern, which is what I'm going to be using the pallets for. And if you follow some of my projects, then you've probably noticed that I make my designs by doing 3D drawings. And that's because I like to have a visual of how everything gets put together. But I've been wanting to get better at drawing, and with the classes and learning paths from today's sponsor Skillshare, that has actually been very easy. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts. They have classes about crafts and DIYs, interior design. They also have sewing classes, which is another skill that I want to get good at. And one of the things that I like about Skillshare is that they have learning paths, which are curated class collections that help you master a specific skill. So Skillshare can help you take your careers, your passions, your hobbies to the next level. So this fall, not only I will be learning about 3D drawing, I'm also going to be learning about interior design. Interior design is something that I find overwhelming, but Lauren Cox has the perfect breakdown where she talks about color balance, finding your own design style, and the classes are broken down into small chunks, so it's easy to learn even if it's just a few minutes at a time. And Skillshare has so many classes and so many categories. I mean, they have film, illustration, productivity. There's something for everyone there. And the great news is that the first 500 people to use my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare to get started today.
Love is love.
Hello there. Say hello to my wood beautifier. So I have this on the floor because it's really heavy and I can't lift it into a table. So I'm gonna do it on the floor, just like I did last time. But I think I got a little setup going here that is gonna work efficiently. I basically have my pile of wood here. So I am going to grab wood, feed it, grab it here, and put the plain piece in here and repeat. So I should be able to do this without getting up and running around the planer. Okay, let's start. These pallets, for the looks of it, had a rough. But thanks to my friend Mr. DeWalt here, I can bring every piece back to life and see their beauty. The planer removes thin layers from the surface, and it also helps flatten the pieces when they're warped or bowed. And even though a planer is efficient and fast, I was still here for hours because I had to do so many passes and so many pieces. But after being here for a long time doing a very repetitive task and creating a lot of wood confetti, it was kinda nice to get some company. Misty! You found a stick? Where's your toy? Go get your toy! No? You want a stick? You are so dirty. Where have you been? Look at you. Where have you been? So I'm looking at this and I don't think it's gonna be enough. So I went through the piles of the pallet that I put aside because they're not usable, and they are still not usable. Even the thick beams, I don't think those are gonna work because when I cut them down to size, just because they have like this little cutout in them, it is still, the size of them is still not going to work even when I get it to the right thickness. So I have a couple pallets back there and I'm gonna see if I can take some wood out that hasn't gotten rotten or moldy because it's been sitting out there. I've had it kind of covered with a tarp, but it didn't help much. I have a rough idea of how much I need, but I won't really know until I lay it all out. Look what I got today. I've been trying to try it. This is the wood I just took out of the pallets outside, so let me see if this makes the nails part quicker. Yes, it does. It does. Let me put my ear thingies, because this is a little loud. Ooh! They just come out flying. Yeah, this basically has like a little rod that shoots out. See if you see it? See? And just pushes the nail out. For the person who recommended this, thank you. You just saved me so much time. I wish I had it yesterday. Now I'm gonna have fun. So I just got done doing more planing. I planed the new boards that I got out of the pallet, and I planed everything to the same thickness. But now I need everything to be the same width. A lot of these boards are not even, so to do a straight edge, I'm gonna do that on the table saw. So I'm basically using this jig because I need a straight edge to go against the fence, and then when I cut the edge of the wood here on this side, that makes a straight edge. And to hold it, I'm gonna try using double-sided tape. Last time I used hot glue and that worked, but I have a lot of boards to do, and that's just very, very time consuming. This whole planing and cutting this down is so time consuming and so repetitive that if there's a point when I am questioning my life choices, it is usually during these steps, doing the same thing over and over and over again. It worked, but I think I put too much double-sided tape because it won't come off. I wasn't sure how much to put. Oh, okay, let me get a pry bar. Okay, maybe 2 pieces was enough. I guess sometimes by trying to avoid extra steps, I create extra steps. Stuff works. Let's take a couple of them off. All right, let's try it with that. Much better. Ugh. A million to go. The tape worked really well, but I did have to change it periodically because it would stop being sticky. Okay, I'm done with that part. Well, I still have to cut some more. And you probably can't see me. You probably only see the shadow of me. And that's because it's nighttime already. I still need to make everything the same width. So everything's the same thickness and everything has a straight edge. But now I need to run it through the table saw to make it the same width. And I'm debating whether to do that with the door open. The problem is, Florida bugs are no joke. Like, they would just full on fly into my face, and I'm scared that happens while I'm running the table saw. It has happened before. Or to deal with the door closed, because I would like to get this done tonight. But then I have to deal with the mess of the dust. Or I can plug in the vacuum to it. I don't know. So out of all the wood pieces that I have, I found the narrowest one, and it is 2.5 inches. So I'm basically gonna cut everything down to 2.5 inches. Just look at all the bugs flying in here already. Oh, this is gonna suck. For the headboard, I need something to glue each individual piece to, like a platform. So I got 1/4 inch plywood, and then I need to cut it to size, and then I can lay the herringbone pattern on it. So it's kind of hard to explain what I'm doing here, mostly because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I think the way I'm going to do this, by measuring and eyeballing, is I'm gonna cut all the pieces, or well, most of the pieces, at 20 inches, because they have to be the same size. And then I'm gonna lay the herringbone pattern. I did mark the center of this headboard because that's where I'm going to start. But full disclosure, I really don't know what I'm doing. I've never done a herringbone pattern before. So I'm just hoping this will work out. Man, you're a real survivor. So my goal is to cut everything down to 20 inches, so that way every piece is the same length. And the smaller pieces, I'm just gonna save for the smaller sections of the headboard. I'm also making sure that the edges are cleaned up and straight, because everything butts up to each other, so I have to make sure that all the edges are cleaned up. I will try to cut off as many nail holes out as I can, but it's not possible to cut all of them out because, again, it's pallet wood. So that's just gonna be part of the character of the headboard. Now it looks like I know what I'm doing. I had to lay them out to make sure that I had enough wood because it was close. So I got all the big pieces. I'm pretty sure I can get all the small pieces out of this, and I have a couple more in there too. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. I cut it really close. See this right here? This is all I have left. After I completed all the pieces, I cut the little pieces that go here at the edge. This is all I have left, and these are not even like good pieces. Like, look, they're cracked. I was afraid I was gonna run out of wood, and I don't know how I managed to have exactly what I needed, but I'm glad I did. Okay, so now that I have everything rough cut, I have to sand every single piece individually, like the edges, because I think the pattern will look better if all of the edges are kind of beveled, you know, or just kind of have like a little round edge around it. I could do it with a router, but I would need a router table because of how small these pieces are, and I don't have one. So, let me figure out how I can do this efficiently, because this is a lot. So I have to sand the edge of each one of these, and the most efficient way that I can think of is by doing this rig over here. It ain't pretty, but I think it's gonna be efficient because I don't have to hold the sander with my hand. I can just hold the wood and just pass it through the sander, and I think that's gonna be so much more efficient. This setup was not perfect, but it was definitely faster and easier on my hands. The main issue was sanding the ends of each board. So it got dark outside before I got done sanding. So now I'm finishing up. The small edges I had to do by hand because doing it in the sander was too much and it was coming up uneven. So I'm doing them by hand, but it doesn't really take much. It feels like I've been sanding all day. So now that I'm getting ready to lay this down permanently, I need to make sure that it's centered. I already drew the center line on the panel where this is going on. But then I put two pieces together, and with the speed square, I marked the 45-degree angle and I measured the distance between them. And then I make sure that the distance is equal on each side of the middle line. And then I'm doing that for every single middle piece. And as I lay it, I make sure that the line lines up with the lines I made on the panel. This technique, I found it from a short and it really helped me center this pattern perfectly. But before I start gluing or anything, I'm still going to dry fit everything again, just to make sure that I have the pieces where I want them, so that I don't get to the end and I have miscellaneous pieces that don't fit or missing pieces or something like that. So. I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Just afraid that it all doesn't line up at the end. I have everything marked. I'm gonna use wood glue to glue it down, and then I'm gonna secure it with nails. My original plan was to clamp it down and just let the glue do its job, but my clamps are not big enough to go across this, so I'm just gonna have to do nails. I got the middle all nailed, and that was the most stressful part because it's what has to be centered. From here on, should technically be easy because I'm just pretty much butting up the rest of the pieces and it should all lined up from there. So the rest should be pretty simple, I hope. I actually find glue ups to be a bit stressful because I have to work fast, otherwise the glue starts setting, and if something's in the wrong spot, I might ruin my project. But this wasn't nearly as bad, mostly because I could work on a few pieces at a time. I was up to 1 o'clock in the morning gluing this thing though. This came out so good. I love it. I absolutely love it. I also don't know how I'm gonna carry it. It's kind of heavy. I also did 1/4 inch plywood as the backing, and that's kind of flimsy. Another thing is, because I did nails, they stick out of the bottom, which I knew was gonna happen, and I have like, I think the smallest nails I can get because I made this all very thin. And since I had a platform down here to make this flat, naturally it got nailed to an extra piece of 1/4 inch plywood. But I'm thinking I'm just gonna leave that as the backing. Little issues, nothing too serious. I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna carry this out of here, outside, so that I can cut it, because it's more comfortable to cut it outside than it is to cut it in here. Nope. This is heavy, and it's awkward, and I need Tony.
This is going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yes. And then just be careful with your stuff when you come out. We're gonna put that now on the sawhorses upside down. Okay, and then
go all the way around?
I feel like we're doing this the hard way, but
I think we are, indeed. Okay.
okay.
And then...
Okay. All right, now I'm just gonna cut all the edges out, and I'm just basically gonna follow this plywood, since this has all straight edges, so I'm gonna follow that. I still have to cut it down to size a little bit more, but I wanna get straight edges on this first. I was gonna leave that on, almost like a protector, because look at all the nails. This is lack of planning on my part, but this is the back that's gonna go against the wall. Just gotta see if there's a way to like cover it or something so nobody pokes their hand if they move the bed or anything. But if anything, it's gonna be against the wall, so it's not a big deal. Ah, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Wow. I'm impressed. So for the frame that goes around the headboard and the legs, I'm using 2x2s, and then I'm going to cut inside of the 2x2 so that I can fit the headboard inside like this. And I'm doing that using the table saw. While I did the first piece, I realized that I don't want to go all the way down to the bottom of the leg, so I need a stopping point. So what I did is I drew a line on the wood and I drew a line on the table saw to line it up where I wanted the blade to stop. But this first piece I'm gonna have to redo because I went a little too far with the blade. Misty, let me see your toy. Up. Good girl. Hi, Indy. Hello. Hi. Hi, Indy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Up. Well, that's Indy. You haven't seen him before. He usually doesn't come visit much. He doesn't like me as much as Misty likes me. Hi, Misty. Up. Now that I have the legs cut, I also have to miter the top of it, but I need to cut this to the final width. So I marked it, and I need to cut the same exact distance on each side so that the pattern stays centered. Off camera, I have measured this like 13 times because I cannot mess up this cut. This is the last cut. If I cut it too small, the end of this video would just be me crying in a corner. The nails sticking out of the back are now a problem. Since I cut it, this doesn't slide all the way in because it's hitting the nails. What should I do with you? Maybe I should do that with the rest of the nails. But there's so many. Ouch. Ouch. I think one of the hot nails hit my finger. I'm not cut or anything. It just felt like really hot. So I think these get really hot when I cut them. Ouch. That hurt. Okay, I'm gonna try that again. Hopefully that doesn't happen. You know, I'm glad I did this because every time I grab the headboard, my fingers would get caught up in the nails. Now, where was I? Oh, frame. I really messed up. So I was very careful on cutting this to the right size, but I didn't pay attention to the angle. I guess I cut this part at the wrong angle because it doesn't match at all. I have a perfect miter on that side, very bad miter on this one. And now I'm gonna have to recut it. Not only recut it, but I have to do all of this again. I think I got it this time. Miters match. I'm honestly not sure how I'm even going to secure all this. Like, I don't know if I should nail it, if I should glue it, both. But I don't wanna do anything until I build the bed frame, because this gets attached to the bed frame, and I want to make sure it all goes together before I like permanently attach the headboard all together. So now I'm gonna build a bed frame. And last night we went to the store and I was trying to explain to Tony what goes into a bed frame. So for the bed frame, you have the frame, right? You have the headboard, and in the middle, you have the spine, which supports, you know, some of the main weight. You have the stiles all across. And then that's the anatomy of the bed.
I took my eyes off of her for 2 seconds and I lost her. Find what you were looking for?
Everything's damaged. This is pretty. Yeah.
We've been here for 4 hours. For 4 hours. Are you sure that's the right board? Because you've looked at every single one in the store. We're never leaving this store.
So I've never done this before, so bear with me. I did find a pretty helpful tutorial online, so I'm gonna give this a try. I did all of my own drawings with the sizes I need. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the sides of the frames and the legs and put them all together. There's this section at Lowe's that is called Premium Pine. And it's like the nicest pine you can get. And that's what I got for the outside frame. And the reason why, like, it's a little bit more expensive. It is a little more pricey, but it's not likely to be warped. Usually doesn't have any knots, and it looks like it's cut to size, like the edges are straight and things like that. So that's why I wanted to get that one, because it would save me a little bit more time rather than shaping everything to size or getting, you know, like warped wood, because this part I really needed to be straight. So I got the pretty pine. This one's my favorite here. So I think I'm gonna put that on the right side of the bed. So when you walk into the room, like that's the side that you see. And then the front, maybe this one right here. This is my second favorite. This one will probably go towards the back, so it's not visible. And this is gonna go on the left. Before I start cutting, I like to start with a clean edge. So I'm just gonna cut the edge here real quick. To make sure that they're both the same exact size, I like to cut them together. That's not the only way to do it, but it's the way that usually works for me. I just make sure to clamp everything so that it doesn't shift when I'm cutting it. And I like to put something between the clamp and the wood so that it doesn't dent, because pine is soft, so it dents easily. For the front legs, I'm gonna use 2x2s, which is the same thing that I use for the headboard. I'm doing pocket holes on the front and the back rails so that I can attach it to the legs. I'm also using this as a spacer. This is, I think, about 1/4 of an inch or so. I'm using it as a spacer because I don't want this to be flush with the leg. Looks better in my opinion that way. And then I'm gonna clamp everything down and put the pocket screws. And I'm also gonna pre-drill into the wood so that it doesn't split. I'm not using glue on this joinery because I want to be able to take the bed apart. So if we ever take it out of the room or to take it in and out, I want to be able to disassemble it if needed and assemble it back. The thing moved. I didn't clamp it tight enough because it moved. Now it's not going anywhere. I have to come outside because I didn't have enough room in the shed to put this together since the pieces are so long. So I bought this hardware, which is for bed frames, and what this will do is it'll allow me to take it apart easily and put it back together. The problem is, over here, there's a gap. So I'm gonna do a cleat because I need something to screw it onto. It's also like a bracket, so it's gonna hold this piece and this piece together. I'm just a little bit afraid because thin pieces can crack when you run a screw through them. So I'm gonna be very careful. I'm gonna use wood glue. And then pre-drill it and carefully put screws, and hopefully it'll be fine. I'm also making sure to line them up where I don't run into the pocket screws because they're right there. And because I did add to the thickness where this is supposed to go, I am using longer screws than what the hardware came with. Actually, give me a second. I didn't clamp this piece. I mean, it's like perfectly in place, but I don't have it clamped. Come on. You should know better. Ay, ay, ay. This one, I have it barely clamped. See? Because I don't want it to dent. Oh, I dropped it. I'm doing this all wrong. Okay. There. Now I can really clamp it. Now we're good. And now the clamp's in the way. So this is supposed to go. Did I screw this up? No. I might have screwed this up. Why is this not going through? Oh, first of all, it doesn't even go there. Did I put them in the wrong spot? No, wait. No, it's fine. It's not supposed to slide out. Hopefully this is correct. If not, I'm in trouble. I'm going to do 2 and then test it. Oh, there you go. So see, slides right in, and then you just, tighten it in place. I did see in the tutorial that it's recommended to have washers so that I can tighten up better, so I'll probably get them later. I didn't have washers big enough for it. But yeah, you tighten it up, and then to take the bed apart, so you're not carrying a big old frame around. Take it off. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, let's do the other side. Now that winter is coming, it gets dark a lot earlier, so I was trying to finish this before it got dark. Just like the first leg, I was really struggling to get the adjustments just right, and it was really frustrating. Okay, that's it. I'm going inside. So Tony helped me move everything inside, and she had the greatest idea to use buckets as the table, because otherwise this wouldn't fit. So anyways, this is my new work table. I also went to the store real quick to get washers because this was not getting tight for some reason, so I got the washers and they work. I also noticed that the screws that came with the hardware, I changed some because I added a little cleat here, but the other ones I used thinking they would be the right size, and look at what happened. Look, they went all the way through. So now I have to do a repair. Oh, there you go. So now I'm gonna cut the cleats that are gonna go on the side rails, and then that's where the slats that hold the mattress are gonna go on top of. I'm doing it out of a 1x4. They don't need to be that wide, but I did a lot of measuring when I was drawing this, and because of how high the mattress is that I have, it's a 10-inch mattress, and how high I want the bed to be, that was the best size for this. It's like 6.5. This will be holding the weight of the mattress and whoever's sleeping on it, so I added wood glue for extra strength. to bring the sawhorses inside because doing this on the floor was not working out and the glue was dry and this was not staying straight. So anyways, after the glue, I just put a few nails so that I can hold it in place, but I'm gonna also secure it with screws. So this should be pretty solid once it's dried up. Getting heavy now. So the rest of the pieces I'm gonna cut tomorrow because I want to assemble the bed first, and that'll give me a good measurement of all the slats and how many I need. So I'm just gonna do that tomorrow after I assemble the bed. Seeing it in the room where it's going to be is so amazing. I love it. Like, I love how this turned out. But still got a little bit to go. I gotta attach the legs. So remember, I didn't attach these because I wanted to make sure that the bed frame and everything went together okay. I'm gonna take this outside and the bed frame and do the hardware on the legs and the sides. And then I'll finish putting the headboard on. I'm basically marking where to attach this back piece of the bed frame because it has to be at the same height, and since the legs are also part of the headboard, they're not the same size. So I'm just using this as a reference to know exactly where to put them. And then I'm gonna attach them the same exact way I did this side with the hardware. Are you comfortable?
I'm laying on the bed.
Soon, very soon.
The washer goes on the outside of the thing.
Yeah, preferably. Seems, I mean, these are loose still, but it actually seems solid, yeah. Huh, I'm impressed. I don't know how I pull these things off, but I do sometimes.
Yeah, could you hurry up and finish that bed? I want to take a nap.
All right, let's try to do this quick.
Okay. Where are we going?
We're gonna slide it in.
Okay. Okay. I'm in. Are you in?
Barely. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Slide it in nice and slow. Oh, look at that. You must have adjusted it.
Well, I put cleats over here so it can be at the right stopping point. All right, now I gotta figure out how to permanently attach it. So after Tony helped me put the headboard in and I finalized trimming the top piece because I needed to cut it down just a little tiny bit. I remember that I needed to sand this before I put it together because it's easier. So I took it out and now I get to put it back in again. I came in here because it rains every 10 minutes for like a minute. It's ridiculous. Like a cloud comes, it rains, and then it goes away and the sky is clear. And 10 minutes later, it repeats. And this is about the third time that I move everything in here and then take it back out. And this is a very tight space. Like I am edge to edge here. That's why I was working outside. Okay, let me try this. Ouch, sorry. I think I'm gonna nail it in place to like hold this. So I had to call Tony for help again because after I put it back in, it was too heavy to move by myself. I think I can handle it from here.
Are you sure?
I hope so.
Okay. Since you haven't finished the bed yet, I'm going to take a nap on the floor.
Good luck. Just making sure that they're short nails so they don't shoot out of the other side. After I got done nailing the frame in place, I did a quick sand with 220, including the edges, so that they wouldn't be sharp. It's almost there. It looks so good. I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. But I have a little bit to go, not too much. I have to put the slats in, so I basically just gotta do straight cuts to size. But one important piece that I still have to do is the middle part that goes here with like a couple of more legs. But I'm gonna cut these first because I need to measure the height, and it's easier if I just have these on there. I've recently started rewatching the show The Walking Dead, and there's this one scene where the main character, Rick, has to hide under the bed because a group of guys broke into the house that he was staying, and since these were clearly not good guys, he hid under the bed until he could possibly escape. But instead of enjoying how suspenseful the scene was, waiting to see if Rick was going to get caught hiding under the bed, I was paying more attention to the construction of the bed. Because every time somebody sat on the bed, the bottom of it would bounce so bad that it would hit Rick on the head. And I figured out that this happened because the bed did not have the middle board supporting it with the extra legs, which is exactly what I'm building right now. So if there's ever an apocalypse and I have to hide under this bed, I won't have the same problem. If you're curious about how much I spent on this project, the materials for the headboard were $82, which compared to the $600 headboard that I use as my inspiration, that's a big difference. But I did spend quite a bit on the bed frame since I bought all pre-cut lumber. That was $255. So the total for this project was $338. Not counting the tools since I get to keep those for all my future projects. But still altogether was less than the price of the headboard I saw online. What do you think? I love how the pattern came out. Like, this headboard, I absolutely love it. And I'm impressed with the construction of the bed. Like, I was worried, since I never built one before, I was worried about being stable, and it looks like it's solid. So still gotta test the mattress. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to secure these in place so that they don't move, or if the weight of the mattress will be enough. I'm not sure. I'm gonna deal with that later because I still have to stain it and seal it. I'll do it when I'm finishing up the rest of the room. The next step is to change the floors. I gotta get rid of this ugly carpet. I can't. I've always wanted to change it, and there's only 2 rooms in the house left with carpet. This bedroom and our bedroom, the master bedroom. I'm gonna go ahead and change it since I'm redoing this room anyways. Drop.
Yep. Okay. Holy crap, it fits.
Fits. We're good. We're all good.